Good afternoon, guys. My name is Shay. Welcome to the Shay Show. Today we get to speak with Justin McRoberts. He's an author. He's a church planner. He is a worship leader. He's a brilliant mind. I reached out to him here on Instagram because he lays out beautiful truths. Every time I read something that he has written, I'm like, this guy is digging into what it means to be a human being who is living from an honorable, centered space and wanting to occupy their life with dignity, passion, and love. Here he is, you guys. Let's go get him. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Hey, Justin.
It's great to meet you.
Good meeting
Face to
you.
face ish.
I know, ish. I
Yeah,
love it.
ish.
I love that we're both like old school.
Come on.
Right?
I've tried. I had this conversation with someone recently. I was like, I get it. Like I do. I get like it's cool to have but
The
there's
sound
nothing
is not
quite
the
like
same.
the sound's not the same, and you can be like, no, but seriously, bro. And just for emphasis, I'm like, stop it.
I
Just
know.
stop it.
I always know that you're at least 40 if you still have this jam.
Come on
Because,
now.
like, I mean, just because all the younger kids, they comment on, they're like, do you think, why don't you get the ear pods? I'm like, the sound's not the
Yeah.
same. And
Sounds
by
not
the
the
way,
same.
look how good we look with them on.
I agree. Not only from function but also from fashion. I'm down.
So, Justin, I was just telling everybody how I met you here. I met you here on the gram, and this is going to probably sound a little unctuous for you, but what drew me to you was every time I went to your feed, you are someone who seems to be so committed to truly the human experience and what it really means to dive in, to peel that back,
Yeah.
and to occupy that space with such centeredness,
Hmm.
such holiness in the mess of it,
Yeah.
such awareness of our fellow man and our own weaknesses, and then want to show up with love and compassion. Every time I looked at your stuff, I was like, this guy gets it. And frankly, may I be so bold to say, and he's a white American Christian, and he is speaking to real heart things that's asking people to look in, and not just because right now it seems like everybody wants to say they know everything. They know it all. They have the answers. And you and I, moving from a Christian ethos, both of us, oftentimes in our belief, it seems like that we hold all the answers is what we like to, that's our flag. So we
Hmm.
already know it. So I don't really care about you because I
Yeah.
got the answer. So that's what
Yes.
I saw in your stuff.
Yeah. I'm a process person. Like whether you're someone who, yeah, whether coming from the standpoint of like more of a right-leaning thing where like, hey, there are things that are true about the world, or from a left-leaning thing where it's like, well, it's more about progressivism. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are things that are like good and bad and black and white about the world, that's great. And if other people don't get that and you do,
Mm-hmm.
then what if instead of being like, I get it and you don't, what if it was like, I've been given a gift, and how you give a gift? Do you like hurl it at someone's head and be like, catch this or don't, bro? And so if you so like if I am of that ilk, and
Right,
it's
right.
like, no, it's black, it's white, and I see it and other people don't. If you are that, if I'm of that ilk, then
Mm-hmm.
I've been given a gift, and
Mm-hmm.
I need to offer that gift in love, because gifts are to be
Mm-hmm.
offered in love. And then if I'm of the other ilk, and I'm more like, if I'm more in line with the idea of being progressive, well, there is no progress if I'm not allowed to be 7 steps behind you, still not getting it. Like
Right.
that's not progress, man. That's
Sure.
fundamentalism, and you're
Mm-hmm.
just gonna break dudes off, and that's it. So
Mm-hmm.
my like, I've been, I've played bad cultural baseball in both
Mm.
camps, where I've been in
Mm.
the place where like I've hurt people by saying I get it and you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been in a place where I get it, like I get it, I'm right, there's a wrong, and you're on the wrong side, and that's it. And I've
Sure.
also been in a place where like I've come to these conclusions, I've grown in my knowledge and wisdom, and it's too bad you haven't caught up yet. Like I've been both places, and they're both just really, really lonely places. So
Can I ask you a bit about how you got? So, what I would like for you to do first, tell us where you are in this world.
Right
Justin?
now, I'm outside of Denver, Colorado, and
Oh,
I live in Martinez, California, which
ooh,
is
where's that?
it's just outside of Oakland. So I was born in Oakland, and I was raised in a town called Concord, and I live in a town called Martinez now, East San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
I'm outside of Denver. I'm here for a day. I'm doing some work with some young life people
Oh,
in
yay.
Colorado. Yeah,
Cool.
is the deal for the day.
Okay, I love it. So, how did you become a mind that wanted? You're now able to say, there's a time when I've been in both camps.
Yes.
What do you think? How did you feel when you were in the fundamentalist camp? Tell
Uh,
me a little bit about the framework of that.
yeah. So the bottom line is loneliness. Like it's a thing. It's a distinctive of leadership in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going to lead, you're going to be out front. And if you're going to be out front, you're going to be lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's just true.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are ways that I can exacerbate that or not. And the
Mm-hmm.
ways I can exacerbate my loneliness are to make other people feel other. So like it's one thing to know, like, as a leader, I want to be out front, and that's lonely. It's a whole other thing to be out front and not even making any effort whatsoever to actually take people with me. So it's bad leadership. And what part of I realized being a fundamentalist on either side of
Mm-hmm.
the spectrum was like, I'm actually like deeply, deeply lonely,
Mm-hmm.
and I hear that same resonance from
Mm-hmm.
folks who are rightly complaining about the institutions I work for,
Mm-hmm.
the organizations I work for, or the ways I'm doing things. They're basically saying, like, I feel left alone, I feel isolated, I don't feel represented, and I was like, oh,
Mm.
so I'm just participating in that, and there isn't a way to do that from that extreme, and I need to dive, like you just said, I need to dig in with people. And the more I actually just dug in with people, the more I was like, I don't get to tell like a right or wrong story, and I don't get to tell you what steps to take towards progress. What I can do is I can tell you where I've been. I
What
can
I've
tell you
done.
what I've done. I can tell you how it felt. I can tell
Mm-hmm.
you what worked for me, and then we can have a conversation. And if you ask me things, I can say, I would try this and let me know if it works. Versus like, I've got it and you need it, because that's just too lonely.
Yeah. What were you always um, more malleable in your thought process? Because that seems to be a malleable thought process or a machinery to do that.
I got older. And it was like, I got older, and I realized how well. I guess the whole story is this. So I got older. I realized I was gonna die,
Mm-hmm.
and because I realized, because we talk about that, right? It's like in my 20s and 30s, it's like, oh, death is a reality. Blah 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 blah.
Mm-mm.
And then like by the time I hit 30, I'd been at like 25 funerals, and I
Really,
was
that's a
like,
lot.
it's a lot. And then I was at my grandmother's funeral, and I'm thick-headed, I guess, in some way, and it sank in. I was like, I'm 30. A lot of people in the room have known my grandmother her whole life, and they're telling me stories from when they were like 15, 16, 20, 25 years old about when she was in her 20s and 30, and I was like, oh wait, like I'm more than a third of the way done.
Right.
And now
Right.
I'm like, I'm 47. I'm like, I'm more than halfway done.
Yeah.
And so what hit me, it didn't hit me. What eventually like overwhelmed me was, I let too many things matter. So what
Mm-hmm.
made me immovable, what made me a fundamentalist was like, I tried to hold
Static.
everything static. I tried to
Mm-hmm.
hold everything as if it was of equal importance. It's equally important that I understand exactly where I am politically, as it is for me to understand where I'm at theologically, as it is for me to have my relationship straight, as it is for me to have my work life straight, as it is for this, for that. And then it's like, I don't have time.
Right.
I don't have time to get all this crap straight. I just don't.
Yeah.
What I should do is I should figure out what things I'm actually legitimately good at, and then let go of a lot of other stuff. And
Yeah.
so like my malleability, I love that word. I'd like to be, I just can't care about everything the way I wanted to. I don't have the
Ooh.
space or the time. I
I don't
would
have the
love to,
bandwidth.
I don't have the bandwidth. I can care really deeply. You and I both know this. I can care really deeply and be an expert in a very, very short list of things.
Right. Right.
And
No, I care. I get that.
And I would rather do that, and then honest to God, let go of the rest of the stuff and be like, I know a little bit. Other people know more stuff.
You know what helped me too? I love what you're saying, is that I thought in growing up in the Christian world, and then specifically coming over to the States, and really the large part of my Christian experience in the States is largely a white American Christian church, and which is his very own specific thing, honestly.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
And what I realized is the environment that I was around was more interested than in being right than
Yes.
doing right, than doing right.
Correct.
Just
Yep.
doing right.
Yep.
Like,
Get it right here. Get it
yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah. You
Go.
gotta be right.
Get it right here. Get it right here. Like
Mm-hmm.
understand what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
Understand what you think,
Mm-hmm.
and then like it'll somehow play itself out.
And you're right. And you're right.
And you're right.
Don't ask a question to
Yep.
what you believe is truth,
Yep.
because somehow it's too gossamer, it's too thin, it's too ethereal and weak. It's going to
Yes.
rip and tear apart. And the
Yeah.
truth is, it's not. And
Nope.
so where you are, I just arrived at the same spot through a different modality. I love that you're like, look, I just couldn't care about all the same stuff. I couldn't care about everything with equal importance and depth and fortitude. I had to give some stuff up. For me, I finally got to a place where it's like, well, first of all, as I started pressing my own things that I just knew absolutely 100% unequivocally were the truth,
Yeah.
were not. They were not. They weren't. They weren't.
Yes.
And then I thought, well, does it really matter? Because I do believe in heaven, which is going to be a question I asked you towards the end. But I really believe that we're going to get to heaven, and 98% of the stuff that we all just know is 100%, 100% accurate is going to be wrong. And you know
Yep.
who's not going to care? God.
Amen.
So
Amen.
once I got that in my soul, then I was
Yeah.
like, then I care less about being right. I care
Yep.
more about doing right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what's doing right is seeing my fellow human being, my fellow brother, my fellow sister, and
Yep.
really giving a crap about their lives.
Amen. And part of what you're talking about is the way I've come to understand in my life is the difference between like right-mindedness or right thinking versus right relationship and actual righteousness. So actual righteousness, the way it's even described and played out in the biblical narrative, is about relationship and not about right thinking.
Isn't
So
it?
it's literally about like, am I in right relationship with people? So when we talk about what things that are true, the word, we do the whole thing with the word true in Old English, where like it has to do with archery, and does the arrow hit the center of the target, right? So it's but that's a relationship. It's a relationship.
other things.
It's a spatial relationship between other things. So here we are, Black History Month, right? So
talk to me.
There is a really limited perspective from which I can, as a white male, understand Black truth.
True.
Period.
Yep.
What I used to do is I used to feel like there's a truth about race, general big T truth. And if I could come to know that puts me in a position of power in any in any conversation, which is like the whitest freaking thing in the world.
I love it.
If I can just come to knowledge in this thing, then I can have
And
power in this
control
conversation,
and
and I can control the conversation.
Yes, that's right.
As opposed to,
and I can tell that person who's telling me their legitimate experiences that they're somehow wrong, or that they don't feel what they feel, or they shouldn't feel what they feel.
So then I come to recognize, because this is, and not everyone buys this, and it doesn't really matter, it's fine.
Yeah.
Is the more I talk to you, watch out, Black people, and the more I listened to, I'm gonna say it again, Black people, the more I recognize it's not just that the language is different. It's not just that the experience is different. It's that what is recognized as true and what matters is different.
Yes.
And I'm talking about race with Black people, and I'm literally not even coming from the same, it's not even we're in the same ballpark, we're not in the same city. It's a different ballpark. It's a different ballpark in a different city, sometimes in a different country. And so we're not playing on the same anything. So Black truth ends up being a thing that I have to then subject myself to the learning of, like in a submissive posture. And then I'm actually in right relationship, which is what I'm called to be as a human, as a Christian. That's actual righteousness with regards to
Right,
race.
right.
Actual righteousness is not a matter of like, I look at the numbers and I look at how many houses are sold to white families, how many houses are sold to black families, and then decide whether I think about redlining.
Right.
That's
Ooh, yeah.
not righteousness. Righteousness is saying like, I can do my own numbers, but even if I look at those numbers, I'm looking at those numbers from a perspective of whiteness and historical power. And
Yeah.
I know that my perspective is skewed by that. So what is your experience? What is your feeling? What does your math look like? What does your truth look like? And then letting go of my own, which is one of the things I had to let go of. I am not correct about race or racial reconciliation
Nor am
or
I.
racial justice. And my whole thing had been like, if I can get right-minded, I can be helpful and I can be powerful. And I don't get to do that. I need to listen to, pay attention to, and subject myself to Black truth about race in America, and then I can live in actual righteousness.
But just so you know, that is a powerful posture, because as a Black person, and as a Black person who is coming from a Christian background, it's most refreshing. Because honestly, if there's any person that I have grown to distrust in this process, or and not even give you the opportunity, to sit with me, because I don't trust you. You're already coming at me with facts and
Yep.
telling me how you have a Black friend who feels differently. And so I literally, it is so refreshing
Yeah.
to hear your posture. And I find your posture to be one of power, actually, even
I
though you
appreciate
didn't
that.
seek it,
No.
just because you said, wait a minute, here's the truth. I don't know what it is to be Black in America.
Nope.
And what I do know is relationships is where righteousness lives out.
Period.
So let me figure out how to sit in space and even hold space. I'm speaking with this lady. I'll be interviewing her in the coming weeks, and she's all about child rearing. And one of the things she just posted yesterday said, you don't have to have the perfect words with your kid, because my daughter's a teenager right now. So I'm the least favorite person in the
Come
world,
on. Come on now.
right? I'm like, she's 13. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm actually kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I'm annoying to her.
Yep.
Even if I
All the
speak like
things.
this, I say, hey, how are you doing? Why do you have to yell at me? I'm
You're
like, but
so aggressive.
I'm like, but I'm not yelling. But what she says, it was just so powerful. She goes, Shay, you don't have to have the perfect words. Right now, just sit and hold space with her.
That's it.
Just occupying space, just your presence is
Yep.
what she needs. So when you don't have the words, because you often won't, your
Yep.
presence is good enough.
Yep.
Just sitting there and being like, I know this must be hard. You don't even have
Yep.
words, just sitting there. So for me, that's your posture. You're
Amen.
holding presence with me. And I can
Yeah.
appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, and part of the deal, like 4 or 5 maybe years ago, is recognizing part of the way I would impart truth. So you watch me like online, like I'll share mostly from my experience of things, and then like a few weeks ago, I started doing Q&As on Instagram. And the Q&A thing is actually a thing I started like 5, 6, 7 years ago
I love it.
in and not online, but when I get paid to go teach. So what I used to do is I used to show up somewhere and I would have a 25, 35, 45-minute teaching, right? And I would just tell the truth as I saw it, stories, the whole nine, boom. And
There it
then
is.
and there it is. And then what I recognized was, like folks then would just feel like it's like this, the fire hose of truth. This is how like white male culture does. It's a fire hose of truth, and then I hope you do something right and right-minded with it. That's how we structured church. It's how we've structured public education. It's how we've structured like most things, academics. I'm gonna just fire hose, and then hope you do something right and right-minded with it. What I recognize is like I can like how much more satisfying, how much more deeply those same stories are like find themselves in people's souls if I'm responding to a question, if I'm actually asked, if I'm invited. And so nowadays what I'll do is, instead of, and I'm about to do it here, I'll talk.
Oh, hold on, guys. Hold on. Don't go. Sometimes that just takes a minute. We'll just wait till he comes back. If he doesn't come back in about 5 or 10 seconds, oftentimes I'll just cancel it out and then have him come back. He should be back here shortly. Mhm. Let's see if he can see that. You're frozen. Okay. So that's all right. He'll be back shortly. Um, let's see. Let's see if he's back. Hey, thank you guys for being here, and thanks for being patient as we just work out um, some logistics here. I think he's in his car. He's in Colorado. I don't know what the reception is like there. I felt a little glitch towards the end, so let's just wait for him to come back, and we'll dive in some more. I hope you guys are doing well. Where are you in the world? I think Aaron and Katie and Juliana. Are you guys out West Coast time or are we East Coast time? I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Or I think is Colorado Mountain time, Mountain Standard Time. Um, anyway, let's see. We're just getting to the good stuff. We're just getting to the good stuff. Come on. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see. Let's see. East Coast, Maryland. Yoshika, what's up? Albuquerque. Oh, what am I reading these days? Good question. God, I like threw a whole bunch of books in my Hoopla account that I'm about to start. Right now, those are all like businessy, but God, I bought, hey, Northeast Orlando, the Bay Area, California. Um, so right now I'm still waiting. Like I got this book several Christmases ago. It's The Long Walk to Freedom. It's Nelson Mandela's book. And that's the book that I'm about to dive into. It's been looking at me for a while. Let me see if I can, um, Justin, let's see. Um, let's see, I was waiting for him. Wait, it still says waiting, but I was at least able to send him a request. Um, yeah, so The Long Walk is one of the books that I'm reading. And what are you guys reading? Long Walk to Freedom. Just things that I've been like on my side table. I'm like, I got to get to that. Let's see. Think. Let's see, you guys. I'm so sorry about this. I bet in the background he's like trying to get here. I just sent him a request. Let's see. Let's see. Oh. The Fire Next Time. Ooh, that was a good one. That is a good book. I remember reading that in my 11th grade year. Um, Historical fiction. Jesus and John Wayne is my next book. I've never heard that. That sounds pretty interesting. The 40 Rules of Love. Um, let's see. Let me go look for him again. Justin. Let's see. Um, I well, while I wait for Justin, he should be coming back. Let's see. This is it. That's what I'm reading right there. Nelson Mandela. But there are a couple of ones that I know I'm trying to finish. Just finished The Vanishing Half. Oh, you told me all about that, Faith. I heard that that is so good. Um, to get to encapsulate what she told me it's about, she said it's about two twins in Florida who are super light skinned and can pass for, that's right, who can pass for white. So Judy Bloom, yeah, I was going to my side table. I'm like, what am I? Ah, yes. Okay. So I'm all late in the game, but don't this, don't this. And then this is a book that I have not started yet, but I've heard is a must. Let me just go over here. And it's The Water Dancer. Have you guys read this one yet? Anyway, I'm looking forward to reading that. I gotta go. You guys, you know what I'm gonna do? Because I think he's having trouble getting here. As I'm just like putting my books back and setting my own little, my Judy Bloom, and boom. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna save this, and then I'm gonna go try to find him. Okay, I'll see you guys.